Hello, everybody. My name is Isadora Martins. I recently graduated from Emory University. I have a degree in business and I studied film and media along the way. I thought it was amazing. I now work with Kids Video Connection as an intern for their marketing of their upcoming film festival, which starts tomorrow at 7 p.m. Today, I'm lucky enough to have Dr. Amy Aidman here. She is the new chairman of Kids Video Connection, and today we're going to be talking about how parents can get involved with the film festival and watching it together, and then also just discussing some of what's going on in the media right now. So thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Thank you. I'm very honored to have the opportunity to talk about kids and media and about the film festival starting tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. So my first question is, how do you perceive the media's role in childhood today?
Well, that's a really great question because media's role in childhood today is enormous. And because media, whether you're talking about television or films or video games or anything on the internet, it's all coming to kids through a variety of devices that they have access to alone, or depending on their ages, or in groups. And the evolution of media in family life is really pretty interesting because when I think of myself, the first television generation, I grew up with 3 television channels in the beginning and 1 television in the house. And it wasn't that often that a child was alone with a screen. Even if the telephone rang in the house, somebody in the house would go and answer it, and everybody knew who was calling another member of the household. That's very different today, where you have so many personalized devices and so much personalized media. The other difference is in the 3-channel environment, there were limited number of hours of broadcasting every day. Everybody was seeing the same content, and there was also a limited amount of content for children. Today, there is a plethora of content for children through a huge range of devices and channels, distribution channels, and this makes it very complex, I think, a very complex situation for families. Plus, we also have the situation right now where kids have just finished school, which they were doing online, so involved with using computers for a good portion of the day. And now families are, most families are restricted in their movements. And so you have families together. Parenting has never been easy. And I have an amazing, an enormous amount of respect for parents today because they are really up against a very difficult situation. Summer camps may not be in session. Kids may not be able to play with their friends. And depending on the age and the needs of your child and the resources that you have in the family, you know, whether you have help, how many adults you have per child in the household, all of these things are going to make a difference with managing. So I do want to stress it. I believe that parenting is always difficult, probably the most difficult job that any adult will do. But now there are added stresses. And so I have a lot of sympathy and empathy in retrospect, having raised children for parents today in this moment.
Yeah, I know it can be extremely challenging to see what's going on in media and know that your child is probably having more time, they're bored, and maybe they just pick up an iPad and then suddenly they have their own Instagram or whatever it is. And it can be hard to manage all of that because there are just so many options for children nowadays.
Right, and it's easier very young because whatever parents allow them to do or set up for them, that's the way things are. as children get older and they interact with peers, they find out more and more about what's available to them, and their desires for different kinds of content increase. And that's where parents are in the situation of deciding what they're going to let into their households and what they're going to let their children interact with. And it's especially hard when you don't know, because there's not a big screen sitting in the middle of one room of the house. There are many, many screens and many, many opportunities.
Right. Well, that said, do you have any recommendations for how parents can best use media to their advantage at this time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a person who says you shouldn't use media with your children. I do think that there are limits on time that can be spent with media. And these days, it's almost easier to say, okay, these are the non-media things that need to take place in a day. So, sometime maybe doing chores, and sometime taking care of a pet if there's a pet, and sometime trying to do something outside, maybe sometime spent doing something academic, but creating some kind of a framework for days so that they're not totally consumed by media. And then I think the most important thing that parents can do with children is talk with them about media. And so many families have rituals, like a Friday night movie. So every Friday night, we pull out the pillows and we make the popcorn and we all sit around together and we watch a movie. And these are the kinds of things that when children grow up, they remember. They say, oh yeah, we used to do that on Friday nights, and this was a ritual. This was something that we did together. And it's around media. So when you're doing something like that, you're co-viewing, you're watching together, and co-viewing is like any other thing in terms of doing an activity together. It's sharing something, it's being sociable within the family. And then there's also something that the researchers call mediation, which involves parents talking with children about what the content is relating. And it doesn't have to be a big, long, explanation of something. And it doesn't have to be a big, long judgment. Even something like an off-the-cuff remark, like seeing violence in a slapstick environment, saying, oh, I never really liked slapstick. That doesn't look funny to me. That looks like it hurts. Or making a comment on a commercial, like, oh, they're trying to get you to desire this product, and how are they doing that? So questions, off-the-cuff remarks, reacting out loud to the content. And then if you find that you don't like the content, or it doesn't mesh with your idea of what's appropriate for your child, turn it off and explain why you turned it off. It's like, this is wrestling. I don't like it. I don't want you to see it. I don't want your younger siblings to see it. We're turning it off. So that's okay to do. That's being kind of bossy, but that's okay to do, I think. Because kids learn not only about media, about questioning media content, but they also learn about what their parents value and what their parents think. So those would be my suggestions.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I know that we have our upcoming film festival. It's virtual, and parents can RSVP and see it with their children tomorrow and make the popcorn and bring out the pillows, like you said. So hopefully parents tune in with their children and have these discussions about the films. And I know that not all of them are, the same, or actually none of them are the same. They're all very unique. And I kind of just wanted to say, for me personally, that was one of my favorite things, was watching films with my family. And hopefully with the film festival, you all can discuss like what your favorite part was or how something makes you feel, because that's part of what you would do maybe in a live film festival. You walk out of a theater, you feel a certain way. And now that things are a little bit different in the world and we're doing this online, just how can you talk to your kid about what they just saw? And is that something that they want to do in the future? Like make animated films or something. This is a great time to start talking about what your kid loves about media. And if there's a time where you can make a lesson out of something, then that's awesome. But also just appreciating it too is a favorite pastime of mine.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the Kids Video Connection Film Festival is really a wonderful opportunity to sit down together, to see some content that you wouldn't see anywhere else, because these are films, these are not Hollywood films. These are films that are independently produced, and they've been curated by people on our board and people on our staff. And, you know, we've decided which films we thought would be good for our audiences to see. And we've grouped them together in ways that we think makes sense. And something about the technology today, which also I think is amazingly helpful in terms of media literacy, is that not only can you pull up this content online when you want to, but you can stop it, and you can restart it, and you can rewatch it, so that you can read more deeply into the content. We did not have that capability when I was a child. If something was on television and you missed it, you had to hope it was going to be on in summer reruns because you weren't going to see it again. But now, if there's a piece of content, if there's a film that a child really loves, wants to watch again, they can watch it again. You can talk about it just like you would with a book, with rereading a book. And that's really very advantageous in terms of developing media literacy for children.
Right, thank you. Yeah, I absolutely loved discussing this with you, and I hope the parents can take away a few tips and tricks from what you've mentioned. I know that I personally even benefited from that, and I know that sometimes I like to take a break. If I'm scrolling on my phone for too long, I'll put my phone down and think about how that was affecting me. And media literacy, I mean, I use it to this day. It could start if I knew, or if my mom knew, or whatever when I was younger, it would have been really helpful, I think, to help develop even better skills. But now I know if I'm seeing something that's just too much, I'll put my phone down, I'll take a break. It's really important to me to be able to make those kinds of decisions for myself, and hopefully parents can help build a strong foundation for that, because I think media will be around for forever. If you have any final words, I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, we can start wrapping up our wonderful interview here.
I do want to agree with you, though, that sometimes, you'll be scrolling through, you'll be looking at news or whatever, and you'll just feel like, oh, it's just too much. And it's important to listen to that when you have that reaction, and to walk away, because the news is going to still be there. So, you either can do something about it, which is great if you can contribute to doing something about it, or you can't. But we all need to protect ourselves. We need to protect our psychological health in this time, which is really a time of so many merging issues and problems in our society. But that said, we have a fantastic schedule coming up, and I think it will be a lot of fun for families. And I really look forward to hearing the feedback from people. And thank you so much, Isadora, for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Dr. Aidman is a professor at Emory University. She teaches or taught film and media to college students like myself, and has worked with KVC for 5 years now.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. And yeah, so thank you so much for being here. I love talking to you, and I look forward to our film festival.
Me too.